How are you doing? So I'm going to cook Saturday afternoon. So just seeing what I was going to cook for myself and Nisha. So I decided to do a fish dish. One of the brothers is down in Cork. It's his birthday today, and he wouldn't be great at cooking. So he was very happy with the videos that a couple of videos that I produced, and he asked me to do another one. He did have a crack at some of the ones I did a few weeks ago, but with limited success. But I told him practice makes perfect. Anyway, so we're going to cook fish dish. Went down to there's very good fishmongers down in Mount Town, not too far from me here, George's Fish Shop. So I took a stroll down there and see what kind of fish they had and what I might do. So fortunately they ran out a lot of stuff. But anyway, I kind of asked them what kind of white fish. So I had haddock and cod and hake. So I decided to try out the hake. And I noticed as well they had some samphire. So I have cooked with that once before. So I got some of that as well. So what I'm going to do is pan-fried fillet of hake with a beurre blanc sauce and some samphire, and I think I'll just have some small boiled potatoes with it. So just yeah, so that's kind of the dish. So just a little bit about samphire. It's very salty. It's kind of grown in marshes, in salt water. There's a couple of different types, but the one kind of more popularly used, or maybe pretty much all the times used, is called marsh samphire. It's you wouldn't need a lot of it, and it's primarily kind of served with fish. Pretty much, I'd say nearly exclusively served with fish. So we're going to have a little bit of that on the plate. The beurre blanc sauce is made a couple of times before, reasonably straightforward to make. Just have a little bit of careful when you're blending in the butter that it doesn't kind of split on you. But essentially, beurre blanc again kind of goes with fish. It's what's in it is butter, obviously, some white wine, some white vinegar, and some shallots and seasoning. I'm just going to have it on its own. Well, what I mean by that is that you can add some herbs to it, typically a bit of tarragon or chives. If you're using tarragon, use it very sparingly. It's kind of a strong flavour. So you just put a little bit of that into it. I couldn't get tarragon. I saw some chives in the supermarket, but I'm just going to leave it as it is. So yeah, so that's the sauce. Yeah, so that's kind of it. So basically, pan-fried fillet cod, beurre blanc sauce, some samphire, and some boiled potatoes. Probably bought some fine green beans as well. I'm probably going to add those when myself and Nisha eat it. So that's it. So look, hope you enjoy the recipe, and yeah, so just get cracking, have a look at the ingredients again, and get working on it. Thanks. Nisha just asked me why I was wearing a pink cravat, so I took it off. I was using my face mask down the supermarket. That's my excuse. I'd normally wear a red one for obvious reasons. Anyway, so the ingredients, yeah. So yeah, there's the fillet of hake. So that's about 180 grams, which I think is big enough. You can see there's a lot of butter in this, 200 grams of butter. So, well, it is a butter sauce. Sure, butter is good for you. And then there's shallots, just about one small shallot, just very finely chopped. About 150 ml of white wine. Don't know if it makes any difference what kind of wine it is. And I have 50 ml of white vinegar. And there's a samphire. So I'm not putting a whole lot of that in there. In some ways nearly qualifies as a garnish, but it is quite nice. And as I said earlier on, it's very salty. So that's really it. And as I said, I'm going to do some spuds with it. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to say in the sauce, but you'll see me doing it anyway. But it's the kind of sauce you can prepare and warm up later on. So that kind of makes it handy, kind of take the pressure off when you're cooking the meal. So look, let's get cracking on the sauce, and we'll go from there. All right, we're good to go here. So yeah, just gonna add the white wine. So that was, what did I say that was? About 150 ml, was it? And the white vinegar, which was 50 ml, and the shallots. So that's basically that. So all we're doing with this is bring it to a boil and let it reduce down to, kind of 2 to 3 tablespoons, even down to 2. So that's the first phase of this. So just going to cook that at quite a high heat so that it will boil and reduce down quickly. Second part then is adding our butter in. So we'll talk about that when we get to that point. But we don't know, watch this cooking. So yeah, so just come back in a moment on that. Okay, we're back. So that took about 5 minutes really. So I've reduced it down, I think it's about 2 tablespoons in there. So look, I don't know if you see it there. Anyway, so that's reduced. I have the heat down nearly to minimum. So now I'm going to add the butter. Now the only thing go wrong here is that if it doesn't emulsify, 2 ingredients that some ingredients would normally go together. But you look at, I have the advantage of, I just delete this video and make another one. And I guess for all you know, this could be my 3rd or 4th attempt. So I'm going to add the butter. And what you do with the butter, you can add a few pieces at a time and blend them into it. And then you add another few pieces. So look, it's going to take a few minutes, but I'll pause the video. So just add some of the butter. So just a few notes there. So I'm just going to blend that into that on a low heat. And when that's blended in, just continue to add more butter. So I'll work through that, and when it's finished, when I've all the butter added, we'll come back and have another look. Okay, so that's done. That's turned out perfect. I just put the last few bits of butter in there, and I take it off the heat. It's really low heat, and you just blend it in. So that is done. What I should have said earlier is that you could have, before I put the butter in, could have strained it. Just take out the shallots out of it to kind of make it kind of a smoother sauce. But look, I didn't mind leaving the shallots in. Anyway, so that's done. I'll just add a little bit of seasoning, not too much. You can keep that warm, or just warm it up gently later on. See, some people are putting sauces like this into a flask and keeping them until until you're about to serve off. But I'm just going to put that aside and warm it up gently. Excuse me, warm it up gently later on. So that's that. And now we'll get cracking on the fish. Okay, we're good to go on the fish. I have the pan heating. Just before I do that, just about the samphire, I've cooked that basically boiling water for about a minute, and so that's done. So I'm just going to keep that warm in the oven. And the same with the spuds. I've kind of done the spuds, kind of get a uniform size and shape on them, and to maintain that so that they don't kind of become fluffy. Basically cooked them very slowly on a low heat. I think they were cooking like for nearly 40 minutes, but they're perfectly cooked right through. So I'm going to keep those warm as well. So that's that. So the fish, what I've done is I've dipped them in some seasoned flour and put some butter on the fish. So, which, it's just the way I'm doing it. You don't have to do it that way. You could add a bit of oil to the pan and then add some butter and cook it that way. I reckon that piece of fish is going to take about 4 minutes to cook, but you can kind of check it to see is it cooked. Just put a knife in at the side, and if it's translucent in any way, just let it cook for another minute or two. Or it doesn't matter if you take it off the heat, find that it's undercooked, just add it back in again. So that pan is very hot. So I'm just going to add a little bit of oil, not too much, and then add it to the pan. So the butter side down. So I'm going to let that cook for about, I'll say for about 4 minutes. Just going to wash my hands. So So yeah, you'd only turn it twice. So we'll let that cook there for, as I said, it'll take about 4 minutes, but we'll check and make sure that it's cooked before we take it off the pan. Yeah, just turn that over. I had it cooking for about 2 minutes, and I have it turned over for about a minute. So you can just check on the side, and if it's translucent, kind of look through to it. If it's translucent, it means it's not cooked, and I think that's going to need another couple of minutes before it's cooked. So that's good. I'll just add a bit of seasoning as well, maybe the white pepper. So just give it another moment. Okay, I'm happy that's cooked. It's actually been on about 7 minutes, and I've checked it again, and I have my beurre blanc sauce just warming very gently in the back. So I'm going to take the fish to the plate, and then we're ready to plate up. I think that's everything. So ready for action. So okay, so I'm just going to serve it up. So 2 potatoes there. I'm delighted with how this looks so far. So the samphire, I think there's enough of that there. And then the sauce, let's see where we put this. And the sauce is perfect, I just warmed it through. And I just put a little bit of garnish on the plate. So yeah, there you go. So pan-fried fillet of hake with some samphire, beurre blanc and some spuds. That's it. Toodly pips.